Been a long day, but we're gonna do this thing. Okay, so hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Ariana. I'm a sassy scientist on Instagram, and I help first generation women of color in STEM create work-life balance so they can pursue their passions outside of STEM. Today's video is going to be all about what I love about my PhD and what I don't love about my PhD. So I'm going to give you a little bit of both. Kind of a pros and cons, but a little bit more relevant and a little bit more updated since I am in the 4th year of my PhD program. So the very first pro about being a PhD student is that it does come with funding. Now, there is a lot out there on how little we get paid, which is true, but as a PhD student, you're at least guaranteed your tuition paid for and a stipend that is supposed to line up with where you live, with the cost of living of where you live. When I was thinking about going to grad school, I really considered doing a master's, but I did not want to take on more debt to further my education. That was a really big priority for me, so that kind of just automatically put me into the PhD category. So it definitely comes with funding, and while it may not be much, it's at least enough for me and my financial situation to cover my basic needs: housing, transportation, food, very important. And being in the STEM field, I acknowledge that I'm also in the higher end of the range of PhD stipends, so I may not be making probably what a bioengineer is doing that works for a company and industry, but I did want to further my education and I did want to get paid to do it, so here we are. So the second thing I love about getting my PhD is being a part of a special community. And for me, what I'm talking about is that my community in person, anyone from my advisor to my peers who work in the same lab section as me, to people I meet online. I meet people every day who have their PhD. And it's kind of like this special, cool little club that you're a part of, where you probably know someone who can help you to where you want to go. And the people that I've met throughout this process and this journey have been phenomenal. They're intelligent, they're incredible, they're amazing, and I know that we're bonded for life through the trauma, I'm kidding, through the experience of going through a PhD program. The students that you're working with now eventually become your peers, whether you enter academia or industry, and it's a really cool and unique experience that you're getting, and I can't even put it into words. And hopefully if you're going through your own PhD program, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's this unspoken connection you have with these people who have either done what you're doing or are doing what you're doing with you. The third thing I love about getting my PhD, and probably my favorite thing that I love about getting my PhD, is that I have so much creative and executive freedom in both how I want to work and what I want to work on. So first of all, I have a relationship with my advisor where my thoughts and my feedback have weight when it comes to my thesis project. I know there are some students out there who are kind of given a project, but for me, I feel like it was a little bit of both. My advisor usually has these ideas and I contribute to those ideas with my own ideas, and then it eventually becomes this totally new and unique thing. So my advisor is someone who makes sure to ask me what I think and ask if I'm okay with working on said topic and project. And when I talk about how I want to work, I mean that I get flexibility in my schedule. So I could really come in at 3 p.m., get things done that I need to get done. Maybe it'll only take me 2 to 4 hours, depending on what I'm trying to do. And then I can leave. So I love being able to not have to work a 9 to 5. I mean, there are certainly days where I do work a 9 to 5, or I work a 9 to 8, or I work a 9 to 7, because we all know how it is. but no one is making me clock in and clock out, which honestly really helps so much because I like being able to do things on my own time. And really, the further you get into your PhD program, the more independence you get. So when you're first year, second year, you're still doing classes, you're still trying to figure out what you want to research, you really have little to no time to yourself. But as you get older, you do your qualifying exam, proposal exam, you get to this point where you're like, okay, it's just me and my research, it's just me standing in between me and graduation. So that is probably my favorite thing about getting my PhD. Okay, so now that I told you my favorite things and what I love about getting my PhD, I'm going to be really honest and tell you some things that I don't love about getting my PhD. So the very first thing is that it's a super long time in school. So on average, hopefully a PhD program is about 5, maybe 6 years. It can take longer depending on the nature of your research, the relationship with your advisor, maybe the culture of the program that you're in. But we're talking 5+ years, right? And if you're coming from undergrad like I did 4 years of undergrad. I did my whole up to 18 years old in public school, then undergrad, then grad school. I've spent a very long time in school. I will probably be hitting 9 years next year in total of my higher education, and while it's been a privilege and it's helped me grow so much, I am ready to kind of leave this phase of my life and join the workforce, whatever that looks like. I know that doesn't sound super exciting, but when you are a student for so long, you really start to wonder, what is it like out there? What is it like on the other side? Especially when you're so close to finishing like I am. And because it's such a long time in school, burnout is super real. You've got to be really comfortable being independent and motivating yourself, because at this stage, especially this stage, no one's holding your hand. No one is making sure you do XYZ, because there are a whole crop of younger PhD students who do need their hand held, who do need more guidance. And while you still need guidance, they're probably coming to you for that guidance because you have been through it. And it's a really long road to the top. It's difficult, and you've got to keep continuously figuring out ways to stay motivated, to stay wanting this, to stay in your PhD program. I mean, not everybody stays throughout the whole program. I can definitely think of a few people who didn't make it past the first or second year. So it's a hard, long, difficult road to the top. The second thing I don't love about my PhD is that you get asked to do a lot of free labor. So we already kind of talked about how you are doing a lot of cheap labor for academia, but you get asked to do a lot of free labor. You get asked to do a lot of free labor. Free labor can mean being on a committee, which means a lot of meetings, a lot of taking action on what you talk about in those meetings. It can mean mentoring an undergraduate student or a new graduate student. You're helping with this, you're helping with that, but what you're really actually getting paid for is your research. But you get asked to do so many different things that you end up having little to no time for research or little to no time for yourself, which both suck. And it's very difficult, especially if you're first generation student, if you're a woman of color, to say no, because you feel like you're letting these opportunities go. You feel like you're letting these people down who depend on you. And it's something that I'm always constantly working on, trying to protect my time, space, and energy. But it's just something that inevitably comes with doing your PhD. And the last thing that I don't love about doing my PhD program is that because I have all that beautiful flexibility that I talked about in the first part of the video, That means that there are points where I lack structure in my PhD program, and that lack of structure means lack of boundaries. So because you're not clocking in and out, no one is coming to you and being like, hey, you should stop working now. Maybe you should eat. Maybe you should nap. Maybe you should hang out with your loved ones. And you're always going to be constantly feeling like you either need to be doing something productive, analyzing data, writing a paper, planning your next experiment, or you're feeling guilty that you're not doing something productive. So you could be at brunch with your best friends and be thinking about that data that still needed to be analyzed and that's sitting in your hard drive. And there's a really horrible kind of hustle and grind mentality and culture in academia, on Instagram, on social media, that can lead you to burnout, or at least take a really large toll on you if you're not careful. So for me, I'm always trying to figure out what structure I can create in my life to hopefully have more boundaries, but I am by no means perfect at it. I am always trying to share what works for me in the hopes that maybe you find something that works for you. So that is something that I really don't like about doing a PhD. The things that I love about doing a PhD is that it comes with funding, it gives me a special community, and it gives me a creative and executive freedom. And the things I don't love about doing a PhD, it's a super long time in school. You get asked to do a lot of free labor that's hard to say no to, and the lack of structure that a PhD program has can mean a complete lack of boundaries for you as a graduate student. If you enjoyed that video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It really helps keep me going, really helps give me morale. If you're another PhD student, you know how morale can fall super low, so you'd be helping me out so much by doing just those two things. And I hope you have a beautiful day or night wherever you are.